And welcome back to Sports Cards Mania. I just wanted to get this video out. I recently watched an interview on YouTube with Tyler Hitt, who's the owner of HGA Grading. It was put out by Luca Nation Network. So if you hadn't had a chance to check out, I would encourage you to do so, and I'll go ahead and provide a link to that YouTube video or interview. In that interview, Tyler basically, went through, they asked him a lot of questions, and Tyler provided updates on, various topics that I just kind of want to highlight and talk about a few of those in today's video. And during kind of my recap on that video, I'll go ahead and show you some of my HGA collection that I'm planning to retain for my personal collection. Don't have plans to sell. So just again, wanted to take a few moments to share my personal opinion and some of the key takeaways from that interview. So like many people, I just kind of give a background on this channel real quick, and then again we'll dive into some of those comments and highlights. Like many, most people, or a lot in the hobby, some of my best memories were as a kid, collecting cards. And then ultimately, life happens. I stepped away from cards as a teenager. But within the last past couple of years, just recently got back into the hobby with my son, Carter, who also posts content on this channel. And really was kind of the motivator to create this channel. And since then, we've sent and received numerous orders and hundreds of cards back from SGC, and sold a ton and done pretty well, but also retained, a lot of SGC slabs for our collection as well. We've also submitted several orders to PSA, but due to their extreme backlog, we're still waiting on those orders now, going on about 8 to 9 months. So hopefully those will be queuing up, and we'll do some of those reveals as well. For us, the goal, entering, kind of getting into grading segment, was to be able to fund our growing hobby, to essentially use those sale profits to, pay for our personal collection. Obviously, turning higher profits to make money as well along the way if we could, that's helpful, of course. But we buy, sell and grade cards of numerous grading companies. It's important to have competition and options to various grading companies in the hobby for countless reasons, which we won't really dive into fully in this video, but I will highlight one of those. My personal strategy is kind of in grading is similar to buying stocks: diversification, diversification. Would you guys want to own 100% of your portfolio in a certain stock to have something unexpected happen with that company, whether it's business, regulatory, whatever the case may be, in turn could crater the stock price in your ultimate position? Most people would say diversification of your stock portfolio is key to protect yourself. I see grading and ownership of slabs from various grading companies in really a similar fashion. When HGA hybrid grading approach hit the market, their appeal to me was mainly the ability to have customization within the slabs that provide kind of an ultra-modern spin, as you guys are seeing from some of these slabs that we've gotten back so far. The second aspect, that was intriguing was their first to market AI, or usage of computer technology to scan cards at extreme high resolution, to analyze the card and be able to consistently assign grades, which include subgrades based on various metrics. No other grading company has put forth such innovation on both fronts until now, which really piqued everyone's interest to demand levels that could not be seen. Yes, HGA is still a new company, having been in business for just 7 months. They've grown very rapidly to over 300 employees in this short time. Because Tyler owns 100% of this company, he has ability and business experience to be able to pivot extremely quickly with his company, but also be open to card community feedback to constantly change and improve their processes to deliver a high quality product. Their current pricing and turnarounds are some of the lowest and quickest currently in the market. Of course, they've experienced a lot of growing pains along the way, which include but not limited to queue system constraints, shipping postal service issues, QC label card descriptions, their quality control printing label miscuts. While these sort of issues are not isolated to HGA and are well known to occur to all grading companies, these issues can and were magnified and displayed on social media by some of the card community. Many of which, in my opinion, were too much overreaction and too quick to cut bait of writing them off. Unlike other grading companies, Tyler has taken ownership of these issues towards resolving most, if not all, as quickly as possible, including additional investments into the company, but also willingness to make the customer whole for those who may have been impacted by something. My second point really from the card, or from that video, is their card show that was scheduled to take place in September has been postponed and rescheduled to June of next year. Now, some doubters will probably try and spin this and jump to conclusion as HGA is cutting costs and just decided to cancel altogether. From this interview, Tyler explains that due to the COVID variant and recent state mask mandate restrictions, which included the limitation to 20% capacity, they therefore had really had no, based on that limitation, the vendors and staff alone would have put them at that 20% and would not have allowed any actual people to come through the doors. So obviously that's a no-brainer business decision, and they've decided to reschedule that card show for June of next year. My third point is HGA is still in the works to create the first to the market horizontal slab. And I think this personally is huge. They presented the first prototype about a month ago and provided a preview on their social media Facebook page to allow people to provide constructive feedback. Instead of just rolling out the initial slab, which, has came at a cost about $20,000 for the mold, they went back to the drawing board to revise based on the resounding consensus that they needed to create a label that would extend the full length of the card, unlike the first prototype that was using existing printer capacity that did not. While this was welcome feedback for their overall success long-term, it meant further delay and additional costs. They would need to produce a new printer, which ultimately cost them an additional $24,000, and create a new mold at $20,000, which they have done, and still progressing through this to be able to eventually roll this to market. I'm personally looking forward to that, and if you guys have been following my channel, I've been recently picking up several game-worn jersey patches and other cards that I think will look really nice in that horizontal slab. Final point, and maybe the most important, this is ability to provide transparency into the AI or computer software grading technology. I've heard and watched many YouTube channels that have commented HGA is not viable or respected in the market until they can do this. I think Tyler does an excellent job in the video explaining why they have not been able to display this technology and process, which includes mainly around the patent process and delays of this. He's invested a ton of money in the process with attorneys and coders to be able to obtain overrides on generic patents by companies that are ultimately just, grabbing patents to try and make a buck. These are not legitimate and are needed to finalize his patents that will allow HGA to share this more in depth. His target date that he mentioned in the video was, I believe, September 18th. So once he's able to complete his valid patents on his process and technologies, that'll be rolled out. I'll just go ahead and wrap up this video. I've got a few more cards here to show you guys by saying, while I understand the need to be cautious with new grading companies, We should, however, welcome and support and be excited about those companies such as HGA who have demonstrated stability and have a lot to bring to the grading space. Thanks for watching, and welcome any comments and discussions around your thoughts from this video and the interview by Luca Nation Network with Tyler and HGA. Got one final card, and then we'll close out this video. And you can see this is one I talked about. This is one of my earlier submissions to HGA. You know, they had some label miscuts that they ultimately upgraded the printer, so they were now all the most recent several orders I've gotten back have had no issues on their labels. So anyway, again, that's just one example and confirmation of you know, something that was occurring, and they rectified it in a quickly fashion. So again, thanks for watching. Of course, if you're new to our channel, please subscribe, give us a big thumbs up, and we'll see you on the next one.